So today I got a surprise delivery from the folks over at Finish Line. So I had no idea what was coming my way, and when I came home, there was a package waiting for me. So I opened it up, and inside were these. So these are the newly redesigned Adidas Pure Boost in the black and white colorway. So first off, a huge thank you to everyone over at Finish Line. Included in the box that they sent me, Finish Line included this nice little card. And the nice touch about this was that they actually incorporated the avatar of my face. So that was a nice little touch. So let's talk about these shoes. So these Pure Boosts are the third design of the Pure Boost released from Adidas. So I guess you can call them a V3 or a 3.0. So with the version 1 and the version 2 Pure Boost, they both retail for a price of 120 US. These are gonna retail for a price of 140 US. So that's a $20 markup. And I've heard that the Canadian retail price for these are gonna be 200 Canadian dollars. The official colorway for this shoe is core black and running white. And this being the debut colorway is actually slated to drop today, January 18th. The design behind this Pure Boost was rooted behind this idea of being a good performing shoe in an urban environment. Keep that in mind as I describe the different aspects of this shoe. So first off, with the upper material. So the upper of this shoe is made up of this circular knit weave. And the design behind this is this all over print inspired by Adidas's Aramis technology. So what Aramis technology is it's basically this motion capture technology that's utilized by Adidas's research team. And what it determines is where in the shoe there's gonna be stress points and where they need to reinforce certain areas of the shoe to make it stronger. So according to Adidas, that's what inspired this all over print. But to me personally, they remind me a bit more of Digicamo or even a little bit of that Yeezy 350 V1 vibe. So while the upper of this shoe is made up of this knitted material, it's not gonna feel the same as the knit that's found on your Ultra Boost, for example. Whereas the knit on these Pure Boosts is a bit rougher when you run your hands across it, and it doesn't feel quite as stretchy. It's still a little bit stretchy, but not to the same degree as the Prime Knit found on the Ultra Boost. Looking at the lateral side of the shoe, we have the Adidas 3 stripes integrated into the weave of this knitted material. The 3 stripes are only found on the lateral side and they're not found on the medial side. The laces found on this shoe is a white and black rope style lace, and they do come with a secondary pair of laces. They are a flat style lace in also a mix of white and black. The lacing system on this shoe is similar to the lacing system found on the Tubular Shadows that I recently reviewed. So if you take a closer look, we have these eyelets that are running up both the lateral and the medial side of the shoe. And at the very top of the shoe where the ankle sits, you have a choice of 2 different eyelets to really customize how you want to lace up these shoes. So the tongue on these Pure Boosts is probably the most unique feature of this shoe. So if you take a look, it's actually a dual layer wrap style tongue. So how this works is that you have this really big piece of this knitted material and it folds over itself. So we have this base layer that wraps around your foot, and then we have this top layer that wraps around the base layer. So according to Adidas, this has performance advantages. I haven't actually worn these shoes to run in, so I can't really comment on the performance aspect of it, but overall it was pretty comfortable. I didn't feel any discomfort when I laced up the shoes pretty tightly. And overall, it's a nice change from the traditional style of tongue that was found on the previous Pure Boost models. At the top of the tongue on the top layer, there is a Adidas logo that's glued on to the knitted material. Similar to the other Pure Boost model designs, this version also doesn't have a insole with this shoe. It's similar to the NMDs where your feet are touching the Boost material basically directly. So the only material between your foot and the Boost midsole is this suede web cutout. And on this shoe, there is this Pure Boost branding that's found on the inside of this shoe. The interior of this shoe, specifically where your ankle is, has this additional padding and additional material. And this really helps to give you more comfort and to really lock down the ankle and the heel area of your foot. To add to that, Adidas incorporated 2 separate heel counters. So there's one on the lateral side of the heel and one on the medial side. So with them being separate as opposed to being this one big heel counter, Adidas claims that this is gonna give the shoe a more natural feel, and it's gonna really move with you as you run in these shoes. So if you compare these Pure Boosts against a pair of Ultra Boosts, and I hold them side by side and you look specifically at this forefoot area, you can tell that these Pure Boosts are substantially wider in stance compared to these Ultra Boosts. And this is going to really help you from a performance standpoint, which I'll touch upon in more detail later on in the review. So aside from providing a wider midsole on the shoe also incorporates this stretch web rubber. So this rubber material actually extends up the medial side of the shoe. So where the arches of your foot are, the rubber actually covers a portion of the boost. Personally, I don't know how much contact this part of the shoe specifically is going to be making when you're running. And personally, I feel that from a design standpoint, the shoe would have looked better if the medial side of the shoe didn't have this rubber material stretching up and over the boost midsole. In terms of comfort, these are a very comfortable shoe. And the best way I can give you guys a comparison is comparing it to a pair of Ultra Boosts. The Ultra Boosts feel like they're higher off the ground. The midsole on the Ultra Boosts feel a bit softer and a bit more mushy. Whereas compared to these ones have a lower profile, so you're gonna feel closer to the ground. And the responsiveness on the boost material on these ones are a bit firmer compared to the Ultra Boost. Finally, as mentioned earlier, these ones are gonna have a much wider stance. So with this lower profile and this wider base, it's gonna give you much more stability. So really it depends on what you prefer. I've mentioned this before in my other videos, but for Ultra Boost, the cushioning sometimes it's almost too soft for me, and something like this gives you a nice balance. So you still have that feedback of the boost, but it's not quite as plush as the setup that's found on the Ultra Boost. So the back and heel area of this shoe is going to give you a very nice lockdown, secure feeling fit. But the toe box, with this toe box being wider than the Ultra Boost, and with this material being not nearly as elastic and snug, it's going to give you a much looser fit around the toe area. So at the end of the day, it's based on your personal preference on which setup you prefer. There is no right or wrong. They're both very, very comfortable shoes in their own right. In terms of sizing, these do run sort of true to size. So for the Pure Boost version 1 that I own, those ones I had to go down a half size to a size 10. Finish Line sent me these in a 10.5, and when I tried them on, there is a little bit less than a thumb's width between the top of the shoe and the top of my toe. I think you're able to get by going a half size down if you're kind of in between sizes, but otherwise I would probably recommend sticking with your true size. Especially if you're going to be using these for actual performance wear and you're wearing maybe thicker padded socks, then you definitely want to stick with your true size. If you're just wearing these casually and you're going to be wearing no-show socks or very thin ankle socks, then you probably could get by with half size down. Comparing these to the Ultra Boost 3.0s, I went with a size 10 for the Ultra Boost, and I have these in a 10.5, and they fit pretty similar compared to one another. So now let me show you guys how these new Pure Boosts look laced up and on feet. That wraps up my review of the newly designed Adidas Pure Boost, dropping today, January 18th on adidas.com as well as finishline.com. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this model. I've been hearing some mixed reviews. I've heard some people say that this is the best Pure Boost design of the three, whereas on the other hand, I've heard some people say that this looks kind of like a fake Yeezy 350. As always, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below and give me a follow over on Instagram at SGO8. I'll be posting some on-feet pictures of these in the next few weeks to come. Thank you again for watching, and until my next review, I'll see you guys then.